Okay, for this assignment, your first assignment, what you will need are a couple of pieces of paper or cardstock. You can use whatever you've got around. The thicker the better. I wouldn't recommend something like corrugated cardboard, but use copier paper or cardstock, which is a thicker paper. You could use a cereal box, the inside of it at least. Ideally, it's white or black, not the gray that I'll be showing you this in, but gray works as well. So you will also, along with cardstock or paper, you'll probably need a pencil. You'll definitely need a cutting tool and a ruler. You'll also need your handy dandy cell phone. Okay, so there's two ways to do this. The first, easier, quicker way, which is not as flexible, but will work, is you cut a simple frame out. You can mark it, just draw a frame out in a proportion that you find interesting. And then carefully with your knife, I recommend something like this. This is an Olfa L2. It's a type of utility knife. You could use a regular utility knife. You could use an X-Acto knife. Scissors won't really work for this, though you could use scissors if you had to, nor will a rotary cutter. Those are kind of clunky. Your best bet is a thin-bladed utility knife or a regular sheetrocking knife, followed probably by an X-Acto. So, after you've marked out your frame, carefully cut it out using your ruler as a guide. And you have a fairly basic frame. Okay, so that's the super simple version. The more complex, much more useful version is to take your cardboard, or your cardstock in this case, draw out a frame as you like. And I'm just doing this really quick. You could measure it out. You could have exact thicknesses as you want. So, same idea. Take that frame, but instead of just cutting the square out, what you're going to do, I'm just going to cut two sides of this. No, it's not a very good cut. Cut two sides of this out. And instead of cutting it out like this as a full rectangle, I'm going to take those two sides and I'm going to zip off a little Z to make an L shape on each side. Normally we do this with a laser cutter and hand out frames in class, but these are not normal times. So you get to cut some of this stuff yourself by hand, unless you happen to have a laser cutter at home. Okay, so we have two L shapes now. And then what we're going to do, these L shapes, you can come up with any of a number of schemes, but what you want to do is you want to make a system where you can change the proportions of your L shape. So you can use things like paper clips, hold it together like that, and get, oh, look at that, nice narrow, super narrow. You can change the shape, just hold it with your fingers. That's not very accurate. You could use the other kind of paper clip to hold it in, or you can do something like this, where you cut little notches into the piece. And another option with this would be to narrow a portion here and then cut a tab here. I'll draw it out for you, where you might do a narrowed portion like that and then cut a tab like that so they fit into each other. And with this, if you do a system like this, it will stay fairly stable and still give you the ability to adjust it. And so you can change the proportion as you want. You might want to make the L longer so you can get more of a square shape. And then for the assignment, you're going to take your phone. And go take some photos with it. And so what that means is you'll take your phone and you'll compose a subject with the frame in view, with the frame framing out the rest of the image. You'll take that and you frame it out and take a picture. And that is the long and the short of how to do this framing assignment. You'll notice these two frames are somewhat different like this, and if I go change the aspect ratio of this one, how much different the images look inside each of those frames. Great. Well, thanks for watching.